Our spatial average intensity, that's our average intensity across the beam's entire cross-section area. Alright? Alright? This is the rank of intensities from the smallest to largest. Again, I want you to know this as well. Both ways. It's missing some because some of these I can squeeze in there, right? But these are the most important ones that I've already given you. Okay? They're going to use these the most when they're measuring intensity. Manufacturer measuring intensity. So the most intense one, of course, is going to be the peaks. Peaks are always going to be the highest value, the highest amount of intensity. Okay? Spatial peak, temporal peak. That's going to be the highest intensity. I know this is not an interesting topic, guys. I know it's not. It's not that interesting. Again, you have to know it concerning my test, but when you study for your boards, know the last chapter. Have to give you the whole gamut so you understand why this is important. We will never get to the point where we're measuring intensity of the beam, right? We don't need to know that. So, as far as ultrasound goes, just like we really don't need to know how ultrasound is produced, we just want to get in there and scan, right? But it's important for you to know so you can know how to manipulate your machine in case you have to. All right? So the next one will be the IMAX. Remember, that's the half cycle, the most intense half cycle. Okay? And next one we got spatial peak pulse average. Spatial peak pulse average, of course. And then we have the spatial peak temporal average. Remember, pulse average is just our pulse duration. The intensity of the beam across the entire pulse duration. All right. Next we have spatial peak temporal average. All right. That's across the on time and off time. All right. And last but not least, we have spatial average temporal average. Always going to be the lowest, right? Because we're taking the value of the entire cross section of the beam in space and the entire PRP in time. One on time, one off time.
I feel like I missed the entire first part of the movie.
It helps if you break those letters down. Break those letters down to know what those individual words mean. Spatial peak. I figure if you know what spatial peak means, you know that's just a maximum value in space. Break this down to let you know, and then it kind of makes sense that our spatial averages, because they're always going to be the lowest. Averages is taking the whole thing in consideration, and the peaks are taking just the maximum values in consideration.
I know peak and average, for instance, but this is math. What is this?
No, these are just different ways that the manufacturer uses measures the beam intensity. Because you just can't use one. They're not trying to pick one of these.
Is this saying SPTC is bigger than IMAX?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it's saying. That's all it's saying right here.
So saying Rick Dummel.
Yeah, that's all it's saying right there. That is all it's saying right there.
This scientifically right for us, the septal and the temporal from max to minimum.
From max to min? I do want to cut the light on. I do want to cut the light on. Right.
When you just so we can compare two of them.
Yeah, let me write it when I cut the light on. I'm gonna move fast.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So again, know these values from smallest to largest, guys. Know those values also from smallest to largest. So just like I'm gonna give you guys an example.
Can you say something like
spatial average temporal peak is not on there, right? Spatial average temporal. Remember, these are the most common intensity or measurements of intensity that the manufacturers use. Remember I showed you that slide where there's a lot more than that, right? Like I could put in between this one, I could have spatial average temporal peak, right? Because temporal peak is always going to be higher than the temporal average, but spatial average is never going to be higher than the spatial peak. Okay, so right in this slide, I could have put SATP, right? But I'm only putting these up here because these are the most common measurements for intensity that the manufacturers use. I'm sorry, Pat, go ahead with your question.
I'm just wondering, can you word it like spatial average with on time and off time?
know. I'm telling you every variation. I told you, I don't like to be boxed in, so I can't just tell you this is what's gonna be on there. All variations of that is gonna be on there. But definitely I want, come back with exactly what you said one more time.
Spatial average, and, on-time and off-time, which is SAT.
Well, spatial average is only concerning space, it's not concerning time. It's not concerning
But
space.
the TA at the end represent on-time.
Temporal average. Temporal average.
Would represent on-time, or will you write it out?
Probably not. Probably not. Because I want you to know what those letters mean. I probably won't write it out for you.
You get what I'm saying?
I got you. You want me to make you to write the whole? Nah, I'm not doing all that. I'm probably gonna do it just like this. I'm probably gonna do it just like this. But then you never know. I may have spatial peak. You never know how I'm feeling. How I'm feeling. I started making the test. I'm not finished. You know. Know those terms. Know those definitions. More important.
Yeah,
Know those definitions.
but
more
it's not
important.
gonna be like that in the registry.
Hmm?
They're not gonna give us on
Right.
time, off time.
Exactly. That's why I'm telling you, post duration. I made when I'm talking about temporal peak. That's synonymous with post duration, right? But I also may just say the transmit time. I also just may just say the on time. I'm talking about temporal average. I may just say PRP. You know, I could even just get really jiggy with it and say the reciprocal of PRF. You know. But I'm not gonna do all that. I'm just saying if I wanted to just, you know, get deep in there, I could, but nah, I'm probably gonna keep it like this. But I'm not gonna write the whole thing out for you. Alright? And I'll write those on the board, guys. Appreciate you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Right there. Intensity. Any questions, guys, on intensity before we wrap this up? Any questions on it? We do have a test on Wednesday.
So it would be more of the chapter 4 in the exam.
Definitely, I'm gonna have more stuff concerning chapter 4, but chapter 5 is on there. So definitely, you're responsible for chapter 5. I do have a quiz for you guys, so please clear your desk. Please clear your desk. Please.